Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I appreciate your time. Thank you for watching. Please help the channel in its goal hit 600,000 by end of the year. I'd like to do it by Christmas. And you can help by hitting that subscribe button down below. My name is Jared. This is where you get Second Amendment news on a daily basis. And we're going to go over some news that happened yesterday. And it's very, very significant because the ATF changed the proposed rule on frames and receivers, which is supposed to go into effect tonight at midnight, as it turns Wednesday, August 24th, 2022. That's right. So yesterday was the 22nd. They altered the rule 2 days before it goes into effect. And that's a no-no according to the federal rules. So it was brought before a judge yesterday, the same day that the ATF altered the rule. This was brought to my attention by my friend Rob Olson, who is one of the attorneys on the case. He is with Gun Owners of America. And this is very important to pay attention to this. I'm going to read this word for word because the ATF is looking to pull the rug out from everybody else just about 24 hours before the new rule goes into effect. And the new rule was cloudy at best to try to figure out. So this is what they filed yesterday in the District of North Dakota, and this is the lawsuit, Morehouse Enterprises doing business as Bridge City Ordnance versus the ATF. And it says, in a notice published in the Federal Register with the publication date of today, Monday, August 22nd, 2022, defendant ATF has noticed changes to the challenged final rule entitled Definition of a Frame or Receiver and Identification of Firearms. The final rule was originally published on April 26, 2022, with an effective date of Wednesday, August 24, 2022, and the noticed changes also have an effective date of August 24, 2022. Plaintiffs' challenge to the rule has been in litigation before this court since the filing of their complaint on July 5, 2022. The changes to the final rule are described as corrections, yet the summary of the changes admits that the complexity of this rulemaking process has caused even the ATF to make numerous mistakes. ATF admits the final rule contained inconsistencies and creates various sources of confusion, which the agency now hopes to have identified and fixed, of course, 2 days before the effective date of this voluminous rulemaking. Describing the complexity of this rulemaking process and the resulting significant number of comments and revisions in response, acknowledging some technical errors in the regulatory text that are causing confusion and could create confusion, including unintentionally broadening a requirement and potentially creating inconsistencies and creating confusion for readers. Those are the reasons the ATF said they had to make corrections. Ironically, after repeatedly criticizing plaintiffs for some alleged delay in challenging the final rule, ATF has now waited until 2 days before its effective date to publish changes to its text. Plaintiffs have not had time to review these changes and their implications to determine whether they are in fact corrections. Certainly, the agency's last-minute changes provide the court no opportunity to have a full understanding of the final rule before ruling on plaintiffs' motions seeking injunctive relief. It is important to note that ATF waited 117 days from the date the final rule was published to notice these changes. Significantly, as a purely technical matter, ATF has failed to push its corrections not less than 30 days before its effective date as required by the APA. In United Solid Waste Activities Group versus EPA, the EPA similarly attempted to amend a rule without notice and comment, describing the change as an exercise of an inherent power to correct technical errors. The D.C. Circuit rejected this argument, concluding that it had never recognized an inherent power to ignore the APA's procedural requirements in the rulemaking context to correct errors. To be sure, there are exceptions to the notice and comment requirement when the agency for good cause finds and incorporates the finding and a brief statement of reasons therefore in the rules issued, that notice and public procedures thereon are impracticable, unnecessary, or contrary to the public interest. However, correcting errors does not fall within these exceptions. Furthermore, the ATF did not claim the good cause exception in the corrections, nor did it provide any reasoning that would justify application of the good cause exception. Similarly, The DC court rejected an interim final rule of the EPA when it should have been noticed for comment, even though a final rule was pending. Quote, "We strongly reject EPA's claim that the challenged errors are harmless simply because of the pendency of a proper noticed final rule. Plaintiffs assert that this last-minute set of changes to the challenged final rule, the publication of which took place without defendant providing any notice thereof to plaintiffs or the court, provides yet another reason for the court to enjoin, stay, or otherwise delay implementation of the final rule in order to give the court the time it needs to properly consider the pending motion and the final rule as now amended." So what does that mean in plain text? The final rule, which has been out for 118 days since it was originally published. Well, yesterday the ATF went, ooh, we're going to change this, we're going to change that, we're going to change this, because they say they were errors and caused people to get confused when reading it. Well, when you do that, the APA, which governs the rules-making process, says you have to give notice and comment period because you're changing that. The ATF didn't follow the rules, just like the EPA did in the case they referenced, and the judge in that case, the EPA case, said, you didn't do it the right way, you didn't give people enough time, we don't acknowledge it. So the attorneys here, GOA, are saying you can't do this 2 days before it goes live, and just like EPA, judge, you should stop this, either stop the whole rule or delay its implementation until we can all figure out, including the court, what these changes are and how they change the final rule. So this will probably be ruled on today. I will keep you in the loop. If you want to know more, subscribe to the channel. That is where I will put it, right here on the YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button down below, like the video and share it. If you're sick and tired of the ATF pulling tricks to try to screw the people out of their right, which the ATF, I read the Constitution again last night, went through it. It didn't even mention the ATF in there, nor did it say in the Second Amendment that, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed unless the ATF says so. That's not in there. I couldn't find it. If you agree, smash that like button. And until we see each other again, be safe, stay vigilant, carry a gun to keep you, your friends, your family, your community safe. I will see you on the next one. Take care.